Let's move on, though, now to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But before we get into that, if you've not already, hit that subscribe button and also like this video and leave a comment on what you think the Buccaneers need to do in the offseason and what they need to do in the NFL draft. Brian and I, we have a goal of getting to 1,000 subscribers by April, which is the first round of the NFL draft. So help us reach our goal. It's the easiest way to help out the channel and for Ryan and I to continue to grow our football fanatic community. Ryan, Buccaneers. They are no longer Tampa Bay anymore. Officially retired. He is gone. And to me, this is just a sign of a rebuilding type year. It's like I think that they've done that. They moved on from their left tackle, Donovan Smith, and they haven't really been able to do too much in the offseason. They've only made a couple of moves that we'll get into. But they started out the offseason with, I think, the most negative cap. I think it like
negative 52 million.
Negative 52. Yeah. And then now they're sitting at just 2.4 million. They were able to just get above that. So even now, still not much maneuverability. Don't really know who the quarterback is going to be, as they have mentioned Baker Mayfield. But let's quickly move on, though, before that, on who they have lost before the players they've added. So obviously, elephant in the room, I guess not in the room anymore, Tom Brady. He is officially retired for the second time. And then they've also cut Donovan Smith, their left tackle. Shaq Mason, their right guard, it was traded to the Texans. And then also Raheem Nunez-Roches, their defensive line, and is now with the Giants. And also Sean Murphy-Bunting has signed as well. Those were all fairly key players, I would say, to the Tampa Bay team last season. And also the past couple of years, their Super Bowl run team also. And so especially on the offensive line members, like moving on from your veteran offensive line pieces, especially on the left side of the ball specifically, is what is kind of science to me. Is like, okay, I think that Shaq Mason was a right guard. Never mind. But still.
Well, Donovan Smith was the left tackle. Yeah. So to me, I think that's a sign that Tristan Wirfs might kick over to left tackle. And I just think they're going to strip it down to the studs. They're going to play a season with Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask. Sutton disagrees with me. But no, that's I would be crying if Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask were my two quarterbacks going into the season. So, anyways, I think they're stripping it down to the studs. I was actually very surprised that they re-signed Jamel Dean, the cornerback, and they're rebuilding. They're not going to be what they were last year, and I think this offseason really proves it.
Well, and another thing, too, that on top of it, and Levante David has re-signed on to a one-year deal. And so,
he did? Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't have him on. Oh, there he is right there. He's at the very end.
The thing for me, though, is what makes me wonder if it's rebuilding year or if they're just going to see how things go is they haven't made too many like major additions to help improve the team. And we saw kind of what happened to this team as last year progressed. They did not really improve. And yes, they had some injuries, but even then when they got some of those players back, there was still a lot of struggle with all the talent that they had on the field. So I wonder if Todd Bowles' seat is getting a little bit warmer. With how little cap space that they had, something maybe similar to like kind of how the Rams, like they invested so much into their Super Bowl run where they got it, but now we're starting to kind of see those effects and how it is not really going to be beneficial for them this year with all the major pieces that they lost and how little they have added back on.
Yeah, no, this is a old roster that is depleted, and I think especially you look at the division, a lot of the trends have gone younger. Carolina Panthers investing heavily in a young quarterback in the first overall pick. Falcons doing the same thing, investing in young free agents, investing in young players in the draft. And then now even the Saints letting some of their older players go, going with Derek Carr and trying to transition into a new wave of talent. And the Bucs re-signing Levante David, a 32 or 34-year-old linebacker. And they did let Donovan Smith go. They did let Shaq Mason go. Both of those are 30-plus-year-old linemen. And so I just think they're looking for that next wave to come in, and I think they're a couple years behind the Panthers, Falcons, and Saints.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, they as I said, they won their Super Bowl, and now they've pushed back a lot of this money to now, and I think this year's going to be a tough year for them. And moving on to their draft, they're picking in a really weird spot. They're picking 19, and whenever we've done mock drafts, when I get to that spot, it's like it is like the butterfly effect. Like there's so many different ways that they can go, and then how that's going to affect the rest of the draft, especially even just the rest of the first round.
It's also you have like your top 20 picks, but as you get closer to 20, you get a whole nother set of players that could potentially be drafted there. So now you're like, okay, they could go Cyrus Torrance, the guard. They could go Quentin Johnson if he's still available at wide receiver, who's a top 10 pick. And it's like, or, I mean, shoot, if they really want to go right tackle, they could go with Darnell Wright. DeJuan Jones is even really in that range. And there's just a whole litany of picks at 19. They're very much in a best player available. They're not going to get a quarterback at 19. So unless they way overdraft Tanner McKee. So.
Well, and another thing too, and to my knowledge, they still have their first round pick next year. If there was ever going to be a time to not trade up to get a quarterback and wait, it's this time for next year's draft, because you're going to have Caleb Williams there, you're going to have Drake May, Quinn Ewers if he really steps up. I mean, so you're looking at some very fascinating QB class next year. So now, if we are right and this is a rebuilding year, like let's just get the 2024 offseason, then this is going to be the time to do it, because there's a lot of generational type talent in next year's draft class. So, but that being said, we started off as we record all the divisions kind of at once and break up the videos. We started out with the Falcons. The reason why I think the Falcons can do it is win this division is because the NFC South is not that good. And so maybe Falcons don't pan out. Derek Carr sucks. CJ Stroud has rookie growing pains, and maybe they can eke out another division win in playoffs, and from there, who knows? So, but from the outside looking in, it does not look like the Buccaneers are set up for success in 2023.
No, I agree with that. I think they are, like I said, 2 years behind every team in this division right now, just looking for that next wave of talent. So I think that's going to wrap up the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offseason. Again, they're just a couple years behind. I think the future looks bright for them if they go through the rough patch this year. Maybe they'll be a high draft pick next year, get their quarterback of the future, and then you'll see what happens from there. So other than that, if you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Tyler and I are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the NFL draft. If you guys, fuck it. I'm just going to end it.